Welcome back to My Hero Academia Anime Review episode number 87. This I'm reviewing the 108th episode of the series, My Villain Academia, and the 325th chapter of the manga. This episode adapts a lot from the manga. It adapts pages 8 to 12, 15 of chapter 220. That's the entirety of 221, 223, and, well, the first 6 pages of chapter 224. Yep, we finally get back to this arc after taking the time off for 8 episodes. Because we had to do the Endeavor arc for some reason. Heck, I even mentioned this on frickin' Twitter. Where it's like, I thought it would be quite obvious they would do the Villains arc next and then do Endeavor arc. I guess they had to do Endeavor Agency first because of the movie. That's my personal guess, the reason for it. And that was basically the reason for it. So, pretty much the episode starts off with the League of Villains versus Gagamesh. The Gekomachia. Yep. They take him on. Well, so he's like, oh, you're supposed to be the successor to All for One. And, well, they try to fight him for a bit. And, of course, the doctor, Dr. Midro, I think his name is. Kudeaguki. Mm-hmm. Yep. You can kind of say he made his first chronological appearance this very episode. Yep. So, he summons them to his headquarters via this black goop that apparently is from a power from a Nemu. Where the heck this thing came from, because it's been suggested the Nemus are made from dead people. Like, takes from actual corpse posses, some dead superheroes, people who are actually alive. Like, they explained this in a previous episode that the Nemu who fought Endeavor last season, that was actually previously an underground cage fighter who was killed and turned into a Nemu. Yep. As for Kakamea came in, he pretty much is a fan of All for One, and he pretty much was All for One. He was basically his bodyguard. So, and when he gets this place, like, man, like, what the heck is this place? And of course, Dolly points out, though, because, well, the doctor himself basically points out that Dobby's got really good eyes. These never look different than the one we're familiar with. And, well, he points, good eye. These are different. These are higher Nemu, basically lower intelligence. And you have Todoroki giving a big speech. And, of course, they kind of reveal the backstory behind those mysterious hands he's got. Because unless you read the manga, you probably would have no idea where the heck these hands came from. It is explained the hands are made of remains of his late family, who he accidentally killed. And that was his parents, from what I can tell, his adorable little sister, and his dog were made into these hands. They were transformed, the remains were transformed into these hands by the doctor himself. And he says, okay, you can have my support if you basically get Gilgamesh under control. And they go out and fight. Like, okay, fine. And of course, Dabi basically is off doing his own thing, recruiting a potential ally of his. And of course, then apparently for 2 straight months, we actually have the League of Villains versus Gilgamesh. And apparently, the guy fights for a little over 2 days straight and sleeps for 3 hours. And apparently, Todoroki's not getting much sleep. We have where Toga and Spinner go to town, and Toga buys herself a big duffel jacket with the bare amount of money that they're given. And Spinner points out though that Saint's influence is gone. Why the heck she says? Because she loves everybody. That's simply the reason. It loves Stain, loves Deku, loves Ochaku. Yeah, and basically what she says does play a small part in the arc that comes. Probably they're going to adapt for the next season of the show, which is going to be the Meta Liberation Army arc, the big invade, the Paramount Liberation War arc, and they're pretty much there for a while, and then they get a phone call. Oh, by the way, Mr. Compress for some reason is seen without his mask a lot of the episode. Yeah, don't really know what was the reason for that. Yeah, he's here for pretty much the whole period of time. And as far as I can tell, there's no reason he had. I think this is supposed to be him. Yeah, I'm looking at something. That's why I'm not chatting for a bit. So, the way for a while, thinking they try and contact Garen, who was basically Twice's broker, and they finally get contact with him, and he says, "Check out the news." Actually, some message on the news. Apparently, there's these mysterious fingers be left all over the place, and the fingers led to places that they actually been, like this place for Endeavor and all the other places. What was the reason for it? And then, of course, the Garen calls up, and it's not Garen, it's actually Reed Destro, who is voiced by Sonny Surratt. He mentions that he's leader of the Meta Liberation Army, and that he's Reed Destro. Also, he says he has the broker aiming the fingers possibly from one of his hands, because they mentioned they found 5 fingers, so presumably from one hand. He says, "If you want him back, come get him." And of course, they wait for a bit, and they said to go, and they said they have Gilgamesh come with them, so they can basically like tame him that way, but basically stick him on the Meta Liberation Army. And then the Doctor basically, well, let's just say he hears this, and he's quite surprised to hear that they're coming back. And of course, so the Rocket points to, like, first it's the Yakuza, now it's the Meta Liberation Army. Like, what brings these guys back? Even though we're the ones basically in control now. Yep. And then they go out to go rescue Twice's broker. And, well, that's simply it. It's also the first episode of the series. Also, the episode does start out with the clip they ended last week with, well, Todoroki being experimented on. But this is probably the first episode of the entire series of My Hero Academia where there's no physical appearance of Deku. He's actually mentioned in one scene, but physical appearance, no. Which is quite interesting given the fact that he's generally appeared in every episode at this point. And he's probably not going to be appearing for the rest of the arc. I think he did make a cameo in this arc. But yeah, he does not play a role in this arc at all. Next episode, we're going to start the actual big fighting. Like villain versus villain. Oh yeah, by the way, the episode is called My Villain Academia. Yep. Alright, now for the newest chapter in the manga, which is basically the 325th chapter, which is called Bonds of One for All. Chapter begins right where the last chapter left off, where Koda is running, everybody basically, where Menta basically tries to go to Deku, and of course, James was like, no, like, what gives? This isn't our moment, right? Urukara. And Koda runs along with this woman who don't know who this woman is. I was so scared. And this lady stood up and said that stuff. I had to try to be, I want to be like you. That's why I am here, so I'm crying anymore. He's like, Koda. And he's like, oh, you're, and of course the lady's like, picks him up. So you're a student? Yes, miss. Several shorts turn me away. No heteromorphs allowed, they said. It was one rejection over another until UA finally took me in. That means I get to see you again. Lucky for me. Thank you for saving me, my crazy hero. And of course, she gives him a hug. And of course, one guy says, "Hey, freak out, Layla in whichever way. Well, I'm taking more to figure these folks out. Boy's not asking to kick up his feet and stay here forever, but his players are good here and hard to find out these days. If Boy needs a break before the war runs down, let him be." I'm going to talk about being a spectator on the stage, save it with All Might, about being spectators, and everyone basically is good stuff. Everyone in the city, everyone's in the city with me. Yeah, so bring it all back. And then we see Endeavor, Hawks, and Shudo being formed by, I don't remember this guy's name. He makes clones. Did you hear? Ugrabi speech? Come in and see for yourselves. All is well for the time being. And you have Endeavor saying, in the end, all we did was cause more pain for Deku. No progress in the runabout getaway point. No progress, as Hawk says. I disagree. What we're seeing here, One for All, is a network of power links people's hearts. It tied All Might, kept Class A in the game, and Ura Gravity linked to these people to Midoriya. If everyone, all of us, are capable as one, I see a future where heroes have time to kill. And we see the woman, we see basically all the heroes basically just, and of course you have Deku's mom reunite with him, which is so nice. And everybody basically, you have Ingenia basically who's got beat up costume. We see a woman that, we see these various people here. And bless you! And then we have Deku, not Deku, we have Shudo talking with Fire. Thought we'd do this together. And there's a brief image of Dabi. He's like, yeah. And then the principal like, it was beyond my power, but your class achieved it. And we cut to Eraserhead, who was lost an eye. Yes, Eraserhead lost an eye. Azawa, be sure to tell my class president, job well done for me. How's your leg faring? So apparently he lost a leg in the last arc. Not only his eye, but his leg too. I hope it next Marco, but I can tell you in Karakuri, I speak to him every day, but no progress on that front. The breakthrough you and Mike had was inspirational. To ship some Nemu Karuki to Central Hospital in secret to begin research. The copy of his court was pulverized by Marco, but you hadn't reached through him similar spirit that day. No place. Yeah, of course, talk about his life friend. Still keeping up with the strategy against Toga. Yes. We have inherent limitations for core containers of quantity, blood ingestion, transfer, mutation. Of course, we are only admitting evacuees to UA after keeping isolation long enough. Then in UA, it's really our stronghold. It's time for payback. Yes, of course. And chapter ends on All Might. I gotta say, really good chapter. I give this chapter a 10 out of 10. It's a great chapter. And this one kind of feels like maybe this might be the end of this arc. I don't know. It's possible. But it all depends on what happens next chapter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so otherwise, though, that's pretty much it for this particular review. Yeah, I kind of wish that they actually give this woman a name. But maybe they give her name next chapter. Who knows? Okay, so that's it for Circle View. Next one's One Piece. Okay, to the next video. Bye.